Hello, Lighter. Hi, people. Welcome back to another Unthinking Aloud with me, Claire Driver. And you join me in a very snowy, middle of the very snowy, hard frozen fields above the village. You can see in the background there, at the top of the screen, whoops, if I do that, the Alps through the clouds and the mist. I'll bring you up here on a less cloudy day and you'll be able to see the beautiful Alpenblick. But today it's very cloudy and arschkalt, as they say here in Germany. I'm absolutely frozen, but I needed to get some fresh air, so I've come out and you've come with me. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about icy, about seeking your identity and where do we find our identity. When I first moved here to Germany, and still now when I meet new people, and the first thing, and of course they find out that I'm from England and new, of course there's a whole raft of questions that come with it, and just like wherever you are, you don't have to be in a new country, but it's particularly noticeable because everyone gets quite interested, something different. They ask you what brought you here, love, and then they ask you what is your profession. So very keen in Germany. It's the similar elsewhere, but particularly here. There's a kind of an immediate desire to know what you do professionally. What have you trained in? Was machen Sie beruflich? And it's always so interesting to see what the response is from the other person, depending on how I answer. So how different it is if I say, well, I work in a chocolate shop here and I, sell cakes and coffee in the hills, or whether I say, well, when I was in the UK, I was a development manager and I was an elected councillor and I was a partner in a business and blah, blah, blah. How differently they respond to you. And based on, of course, all of these preconceptions that we've got about about where that puts you in their head, which little box are you going to go into? And I don't mean it's them and us. I mean, we all do that. We all come to every new situation and every new person with this set of preconceived notions about what that means. And what kind of person we might be, depending on what newspaper we read or which way we vote. God, don't talk about politics. And that's how we identify ourselves. That's what, especially in the West, we are sold this idea that based on what you earn, where you live, how you vote, what family you have, what clothes you wear, what car you drive, all of that gives us some idea about who you are. And I thought that as well for the vast majority of my life. And that was a source of enormous suffering and pain and misery for me, because guess what? It was never enough. And I was always disappointed and things always changed and nothing stayed the same. And every time I thought this thing is going to be the thing that makes me happy, even if I got it, in fact, it was worse if you got it and then realised that wasn't it and it didn't make any difference and nothing had changed. And in fact, you felt worse. And I chased this dragon for all of my teenage years, really struggled, lots of challenges there, and then into my early adulthood, and for all of my 20s was absolute car crash, really chaotic, and trying to find other ways to numb the pain that the suffering was caused, because I just couldn't find my place in the world. What was I meant to be doing? Where was I meant to be? Had this deep sense of lack and not enough, and was flipping between self-pity and why does the world do this to me, and this sense of everything that happened in my life being because of external things. It was nothing to do with me. It was just the horror that was visited upon me, as if it was some sort of personal attack from the universe. And then being full of rage and angry about feeling like I'd been let down and cheated by other people in my life that didn't live up to my expectations, that didn't make me happy, partners that I thought this was going to be the one but they didn't make me happy, or the jobs, whatever it was. Huge source of suffering. And I was lucky enough for that to get so bad that I was willing to be open to the possibility that maybe that's not where I could find myself, where I could find any sense of contentment or peace. And so I now realise that all of that was absolutely necessary, because it gave an opportunity for something in my psyche, in my ego, however you want to call it, in this thought process, this idea of who I was, this kind of broken, suffering person. It was bad enough that something cracked open and made space for the potential for something else to come in. And it was at that point, I'd always been really curious. I'd always thought there was something else. There was something missing, and that what we saw in the world and what we experienced every day wasn't the full story. But I didn't know how to put that. I wasn't raised in a kind of religious family or anything like that. No one ever talked about spirituality or whatever that was in any context in our family. So it was really alien to me. And for me, the first introduction into finding out more about that was through lots of reading of spiritual books, whether it was from a Christian point of view or Buddhism. I studied a lot of Buddhism and used to go to a local Buddhist centre and meditate, and I was always really curious about it. But for some years I got caught up in the structures of that and the belief systems of various different religions or schools of thought, and spent a bit of time getting confused about that, about seeing the truth that underlay all of it. Throughout all of this time, even though I was trying to understand intellectually what this meant, I could feel this universal truth that ran through all of them, and that was that underneath all of the impermanent stuff of our lives, there was another dimension, and that dimension of being. So once all of whether it was through meditation or contemplative prayer or whatever you want, I don't want to give it labels, but whatever it was, breath work. And I started to realise that if I could find a way to still the thinking, the thought stream, the constructs, the ideas, these concepts, the way this stream of thinking through which I experienced the world, when I experienced a pause in that, I had this sense of something else being there. There wasn't nothing. When I didn't think about me in terms of the job I was doing or the money I was earning or the relationship I was in, all of those things fell away. There was still something else underneath it. And I wasn't sure for many years what it was. Didn't really understand it, certainly didn't know how to talk about it. And you can tell now it's really difficult to talk about as well, because it has to be experienced. But that's still space that I've talked about in other videos, where just taking a breath, bringing the attention into the moment, here and now, doing anything to break that thought stream, take the vast amount of your awareness away that is normally stuck in your head, trapped in this thought stream, into the present moment, here and now. And that's stillness, because stillness and silence is where we start to connect with that sense of beingness that underlies everything else, and that from which all life emerges for me. That's my intuitive understanding of it. This universal consciousness that we all share, the source of all life that animates us, animates all animals, plants, everything in this world. But as humans, we have this amazing facility of thought, which is so powerful, and yet so dangerous, and the cause of, for me, pretty much all my real suffering. And I don't mean, pain, physical pain, okay, that's one thing. The pain of grief, of losing someone, or, that is, but really when I say suffering, it's that extra, deeper level of anguish that for many years my life was absolutely filled with. And I can honestly say that now, although I still have a monkey mind that likes to do its own thing and run away with ideas and thoughts and concepts and try and hook me back in, that self-generated suffering is largely gone from my life. And when it tries to come back, when I feel myself feeling a bit, I think I made a video the other day about somebody asked me to do something I didn't want to do, and I was really grumpy and but the thing was, I was aware of that, and I was aware that it was the thought stream that was doing that, and I was aware that the thoughts generated the feelings and the emotions, and had enough awareness, and I've practiced enough that I'm able to be one step removed from that. Now it sounds weird because it makes it sound like there's two of me, but I can observe that and try not to go with it too much, get too hooked. And even when I am, and I can feel the emotions, I'm still aware of it, and I will say to my partner, I'm feeling really grumpy. I'm feeling really, but I know it's just because it's just emotions and it will pass, but I think I need to go and sit and breathe and take some time out to just find that still place within and reconnect with who I am in my deepest sense, that deeper or higher I, however you want to say it, and just let all of this dissipate, because it doesn't help anyone when I get caught up in that. But I can honestly say that I'm free of that largely now. And just coming back to the breath. Whenever we get caught up in those in the thought stream again, and if we are able to realize that is our identity, that is who we are at our deepest, that is who we are underneath all of this noise. And it's not something you have to get like everything else. It's not a goal you have to achieve, enlightenment or self-realization or awareness or whatever you want to call it. It's nothing to achieve. It's here and now and available to everybody, every moment, in this moment right now. Just taking a breath and finding that stillness. And it doesn't matter how long or short, a few seconds. It's the same as a few hours spent in that, because you only ever have now. And that's it. That's enough. That's the only thing we need. You are enough already. It's in you. It's in all of us. Don't look to the external world, for your sense of identification, your sense of self, who you are. You can play with it, you can enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with any of that. And we'll talk about that, how to find that balance and the challenge of finding that balance, because I haven't got the answers, trust me. I just know some of the things that help me when I get there. Yeah, underneath all of that is that still space that we can connect with any moment of every day. And that's who you are. Irrespective of the insanity of the world as we experience it on the outside, underneath it all, you are enough. You are perfect. This moment is perfect. Is all it needs to be, because it is as it is. See you soon.